The admirers of Gandhian ideology and Tagore's literature attending today's event, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, Dabardhan and Namaskar. In today's modern India, where the progressive ideas enrich our traditional values of 5 millennium old, the Tagore and Gandhi are to stand tall among the pillars of the foundations of our national ethos. Both have played a pioneering role in our nation building and enriching the value on which our national ethos stands. In the 18th and 19th century, India, today's modern India, saw many new things. What are those? One of those, of course, freedom struggle. Our first freedom struggle took place in 1757. Also, we saw the renaissance of Indian literature. Now, what did Gandhi do? What did Gandhi give? He gave something important to the masses. Coming to freedom struggle, we must talk about what is struggle. When did the struggle begin? We must remember that there has always been struggle. The human history is nothing but the history of struggle. One dynasty taking over from another dynasty. The dynasty that got replaced, they struggle, they fight against the new one. So such struggles have been taking place not only in India, throughout the world, over centuries and millions. So what was new in the Indian freedom struggle? I would say that the struggle that the history has seen, not only in the world outside, but also in India, was always the struggle raised by one, the ruling class that lost the power against the new ruling class. But what Gandhi gave to the masses, Indian masses, was the sense of ownership, a sense of ownership of freedom struggle. Suddenly the Indian masses felt that it is their struggle. They must struggle against the colonial power. It is no more one king fighting against another king. So I would say this was Gandhi's biggest contribution to our nation building, to give to the masses a sense of ownership of our freedom struggle. Also, Gandhi reinforced the primacy of morality in politics. We often tend to think politics is something divorced from morality. Gandhi said no. The morality has a very primary, very important role to play in politics. This was Gandhi's major contribution. What did Tagore give? We must remember the 18th and 19th century, among many changes Indian society saw. The renaissance of Indian literature was very important. In this, Tagore played a pioneering role. He modernized Bengali literature. He brought the concept of modernization to the Indian literature and placed the Indian literature truly in the global map. Now, these two luminaries left us long back. Tagore died before India's independence. Gandhi was assassinated within months of India's independence. But the wise thoughts and the wise words left by these two luminaries still inspire us. I would say the same thing about their contribution to the building of close relations between India and Serbia. India and erstwhile Yugoslavia became very close. They built diplomatic relations in 1949, and then they went on to develop a very close bilateral relations over the following decades. Subsequently in the decade of 1990s, this part of the world where I live now saw a difficult phase. But this difficult phase could not end the strong friendship that we developed. Because friendship is developed when people are in the good times, and the friends come to each other helps at the bad times. So India-Serbia friendship that we see today is also continuation of the strong friendship we built from 1948 onwards. Now, Tagore and Gandhi left some thoughts and ideas long before this phase began, but they still inspire us. Tagore visited Belgrade, then the capital of Yugoslavia, in 1926. He spent there just few days, but he was deeply inspired by the Serbians' interest in literature and by their warmth. And of course, Tagore left a lasting impact on the minds of the young Serbians of that time, about the richness of Indian philosophy and Indian literature. Gandhiji is still remembered today. In past 2 years, we have done a number of programs, a number of events to commemorate, to remember Gandhi's ideas. We had a tree plantation activity, a cycling event, all with the help of the city of Belgrade. We had a Bharatanatyam dance program where the Serbians came in large number. Serbia Post issues a stamp in the memory of Gandhi. A renowned opera singer of Serbia sang the favorite bhajan of Gandhiji, Vaishnav Janata. I don't want to go into details of this, and I don't want to hold to the audience from listening to the other speakers. But I must say that all the events that we did would have not been possible but for the spontaneous interest the Serbians showed, the spontaneous interest Serbians took. So when I talk about all the Serbian organizations, personalities who helped us in promoting these ideas, I must not forget to mention Tagore Center of Zinjamin. Indians will find it amazing, see how much interest the Serbians, not only the capital city, Belgrade, but also outside, are taking in the Tagore's literature, Tagore's ideology, and in Gandhiji. Last year, they organized a talk on Gandhi and Tagore. And when I addressed the gathering, I saw how much spontaneous interest the audience showed. I am happy to see that Tagore Center, Serbia, again has come up with a beautiful publication. I commend them for that. And with these few words, I also want to thank today's other esteemed speakers and the audience for their interest. And to end by saying thank you, namaskar, wala.
चल यमुना गंगा उछल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नाम जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय 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 जय
We can start today with one warm, say happy Non-Violence Day. And I would like to introduce my dear colleague and friend, Dipanita Datta, who is here in the name of Tagore Center, Serbia, and also to introduce you to Vladimir Arsenic, who is also from the publishing house, City Žarko Zrenjanin Library. And we can start. Everybody, let's enjoy the happy day. Dipanita?
Yes, okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop you just for a second. I'm sorry, Dipanita, that I'm jumping into your turn, but I just want to ask everybody to be rather short, to be concrete, to be on the point, like focused, and to speak like 3 or 4 minutes, not more, because everybody's having approximately the same time. So I will now give the word to Dipanita. I'm sorry again for interrupting this way. It's not polite, but I just wanted to make opening remark.
Yes.
Please, Dipanita.
Yes. Hi, Debadati. Debadati is from Vishwabharati, Ravindranath Tagore University, Vishwabharati. Welcome, Debadati.
Welcome, Debadati.
Yes. So, warm welcome to all of you to this event celebrating the World Non-Violence Day and the birthday of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation. The Honorable Mahatma, the great soul, was contemporary by none other than the Vishwakovi, the world poet, Vishwakovi, the world poet Ravindranath Tagore. In India, the Upanishadic principle of oneness that the Mahatma and the Kavi stood for all through their lives found a point of intersection in the truth of Ahimsa, the non-violence which both the poet and the Mahatma had put into practice during the days of the British regime in India. It will perhaps not be an exaggeration to say that Tagore's song Ekla Chalo Re, Walk Alone, uh, which he wrote in 1905 during the days of Swadeshi movement, and which was sung by the mass during the protest against Bengal partition, regained its momentum in the later days freedom struggle under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. In Serbia, in 1926, when Tagore was asked by the renowned Serbian writer, poet, translator, and journalist Stanislav Vinaver, what is India teaching us today? Tagore promptly said, nowadays, India is sending a new light to humanity, and it is Gandhi, the Mahatma. And he said a lot more, but I will not go into that. It is with this spirit of non-violence of the poet and the Mahatma, which transcends the limits of nation and geography. The forthcoming volume, Ahimsa, Tagore and Gandhi, speaks about and addresses the need of ahimsa from historical, philosophical, literary, linguistic, shamajik, which is cultural, and other perspectives. To mention a few words about the book, I must say that it was conceptualized on the 3rd of June 2019 at the international conference titled Ahimsa, Tagore and Gandhi, held at 7 Francisca, Belgrade. Our wish to bring out a volume so pertinent to our strife torn humanity materialized only after the Tagore Center, Serbia, received the generous grant from the Embassy of India, Belgrade. I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Mr. S. Bhattacharjee for writing the forward for the book. I also thank all the contributors who have promptly responded to my request and have willingly written meaningful chapters within a short span of time. I especially thank Professor Biljana Dojsinovic, I hope I have pronounced her title correctly, who has written a preface within a very, very short notice. Thank you, Miriana, for creating the link thread between us. I don't see Miriana, however, I thank her. And I also thank Professor Bashmi Fraser, who had been guiding us a lot through whatever we are trying to do. Last but not the least, from India, I thank everybody who has joined us today in this new normal situation, and I take the privilege of thanking all of you on behalf of Tagore Center Serbia. The two nests in the opposite banks, to use the words of the poet. Voila.
Hvala vam. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dipanita. It was really very thorough introductory note. Now I will give the word to Aleksandra Maksic, who is also one of the editors and who actually connected us as a publishing house and you, and she's also member of Tagore Center Serbia. Alexandra, please.
Thank you, Vladimir. I am very proud that we could speak all together today, and I am.
1 minute. Alexandra and myself, of course, Alexandra definitely comes first. We are the founding members of the Tagore Center Serbia. So I think this must be acknowledged because it was Alexandra's initiative to establish this center. And yes, I was with her throughout. But yes, we must acknowledge that it's an initiative that that has what to say has taken its fruition. It has culminated into what it is today. So thank you, Sandra.
Thank you so much. And I can just see that Bashabi Fraser just came in, so I would like to welcome Bashabi Fraser.
Diana is also there. Victor is also there.
Yes.
Hi, Diana. Hi, Victor. Oh, yes. Professor Fraser is also there. I just finished the introductory note, Bashabidi. Unmute your microphone. Unmute your microphone, Bashabidi. Professor Fraser, please unmute your microphone.
Okay.
Yes, you are audible now. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
So I would like just to say that our friendship lasts till 2011. And as a result, we have Tagore Center Serbia. And I am very glad that very soon we will have our publication, Ahimsa, Tagore and Gandhi. And we will all enjoy reading our thoughts. And I would join us later with my introductory note. I would like Bashabi Fraser to tell us something about her impressions and to thank her so much for her support of our small contribution to this day.
Yes, and maybe to introduce Scottish Tagore Center to us. Okay, Professor Fraser, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, now we can see you. Hello.
Okay. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much to all of you for inviting me, to Alexander and Dipanita from the Tagore Center for taking on this initiative, to the Serbian State Library for organizing this event. As we know that this is Gandhiji's birthday, today is declared by UN as Non-Violence Day. So I think we all need non-violence if we want to progress as part of a society. And that is what Ahimsa is about, wishing no harm to another. I am the co-founder and director of the Scottish Centre of Tagore Studies, which has been established in November 2011 at Edinburgh Napier University, the School of Arts and Creative Industries. I think both Gandhiji and Tagore would have approved of that. I have retired, so I'm Professor Emerita of English and Creative Writing, very much with Tagore and Gandhian studies, like all of you. It's great to be part of this community which believes in the three tenets that Tagore and Gandhiji both valued: the tenets of truth, love, and compassion. As we know that their friendship is what is a huge impetus for India and the world. They were nation builders, they were architects of modern India, they embodied the modern consciousness of India. And in spite of their political differences, the poet and the politician were very close to each other. They respected each other, there was a mutual respect between them. Even though Gandhiji went for non-cooperation, passive resistance, And Rabindranath didn't, because he believed in cooperation on an international stage. He wanted nations to come together through mutual respect and understanding. And I think this is what we are doing here today, all of us meeting on this platform. And nothing could be better than a book that is going to come out of it, where the ideas of these two great men who have been inspirational for so many of us will remain commemorated in print form, and hence enhancing their ideas of love, truth, and compassion. I just want to say one thing, that is, the whole concept of Ahimsa was actually already in place in Rabindranath's own ideology before Gandhiji came back to India. 1905 onwards, Tagore actually led the movement against the partition of Bengal, but then stepped away when he saw the violence that erupted on the ground, and went to his own abode of peace, Shantiniketan, the abode of peace. And there he actually, I can see that Debarati is here. She lives in Shantiniketan. She will be able to corroborate this much more than I can from so far away. But he plunged into education and rural reconstruction and cooperatives. And he was actually working as a nation builder, and he thought that these were peaceful methods through which the urban and the rural, the elite and the common man could come together. And when Gandhiji shut his own ashram with the Phoenix Boys, C.F. Andrews, Charles Frere Andrews had suggested that the boys come to Shantiniketan. So in 1915 March, 1915 March, they met for the first time. And then we know the history of how they worked together. I must also say, though Tagore disagreed with the non-cooperation movement, whenever Gandhiji was arrested and went to jail, Tagore was silent on the stage. He never ever spoke against Gandhi when Gandhi was in jail. So there was this tacit support, but also when Gandhiji was in jail, Tagore went to Ahmedabad, to his ashram at Sabarmati, more than once, to give impotence and confidence to stand with the ashramites. So their friendship was phenomenal. When Tagore was dying, as we all know, he asked Gandhiji if he would take care of his institution where his life's work was held. And Gandhiji said, Tagore is truly international because he is national. He's national because he's international. And his institution is a national asset. So since then, Vishwabharati became the first central university and the first international university of India. So I think the two showed how you could disagree, but you could still respect each other's tenets, because the spiritual tenets of truth, compassion propelled them to their nation building roles. And I'd like to stop there. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for this
so much,
beautiful insight.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Yes, it was
Exactly.
highly revealing. Thank you so much. Yes, Vladimir, if you would like to say something.
No, I just wanted to thank Professor Fraser. This was really beautiful insight in the nature of true friendship between Tagore and Gandhi. So maybe we can move on. Thank again to Professor Fraser, and then move to Mr. Miloš Đurić, if he's with us still. Miloš, are you here? Are you there?
Yes. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you now.
All right, and hear me for that matter.
Okay.
All right, so I thought that the ambassador was going to be present, so I intended first to say a few words, just to greet him officially. but I shall simply start with my greeting to the distinguished Professor Dipanita Datta and dear distinguished participants. I'm very pleased to have this brief opportunity to say a few words on this occasion of Gandhi Jayanti, which is held to mark the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. And this is indeed an important occasion for all of us involved in exploring non-violence from diverse aspects, because it allows us to draw the attention of various researchers worldwide and the public, yet again, to one of the main virtues, if I may say so, and that is non-violence, which is in the focus of my paper. Just a brief introduction. So, as our host, Mr. Arsenic said, I'm Miloš Đurić from the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, University of Belgrade, and in my small-scale research, which is part of this which is part of this book, which is in the making, I examine Gandhi's discoursal practices and the occurrence of indicators of non-violence in Gandhi's discourse, and I draw extensively on theories from general linguistics, discourse analysis, computational linguistics, whilst applying computational text analysis to my corpus, which comprises 8 Gandhi speeches, in which I explore language devices that contribute to displaying non-violence in this discourse type. So I'm not sure whether I have, additional time, or this is it.
Yeah, I think you have a minute or two more. Please.
All right. So I just wanted to say that my research intention was based on the assumption that highly frequent content words represent ideas pertinent to Gandhi's ideology. And of course, in linguistics, it seems that content words show the dominant discourse practices. Whilst applying this computational text analysis to Gandhi's discourse, I tried to actually verify on the corpus consisting of spoken data, or more precisely 8 Gandhi speeches that were previously transcribed, how these language devices actually contribute to the overall picture of this non-violence which we are celebrating actually today. And thank you all for listening and for your attention.
Thank you very much. I think this is really a very interesting focal point in the book. I mean, it will be very different from the other texts who are more from the humanistic point of view or historic. This one is really very specialistic, and we are really thankful for having you, Miloš. And thanks again for this insight.
It's an excellent paper, Miloš. Thank you very much. Yes, as I know you also. Yes.
Yes, and I just want to check who's with us. Do we have Mirjana Danicic online? Is she with us?
Yes,
Mirjana, I haven't.
Mirjana.
Hi. Can you hear me? Hello.
Okay,
I'm
yes,
here.
we can hear you. Yes.
Yes, Mirjana.
Okay.
Yes.
So Mirjana.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So hello, everyone. It's really a pleasure to see you all here today. basically, I was a little bit late. I apologize for being late, but I joined you just in time to hear Dipanita mention my name. And thank you for doing that. But all the thanks this time go to you, Dipanita. Thank you for organizing, and Alexandra, of course. Thank you for organizing the whole project. And I apologize for being on the first name basis, but when you know somebody for this long, for ages, I would say, as I know Dipanita, I'm sure that would be okay. I'm not going to talk about my paper because those of you who are interested in the paper can, of course, read it once it comes out. What I would like to do today is to acknowledge the importance of this day and the importance of non-violence, especially in today's world when we need to find ways on a daily basis to implement non-violence, both on a private and non-private levels. And another thing that I would like to do, I would like to thank all my colleagues whom I asked to join this project and to contribute the papers. And I have to
Mariana, we are not being able to hear you.
Yes, we lost you, Mariana.
Your voice is dropping. We are not being able to hear you. Hello. Hello,
Mirjana,
Mariana.
we lost you. Okay, we can continue. We can
Exactly,
continue. Maybe it's internet issues.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would like just to add.
Sorry about that.
She's there, Alexandra.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about the internet issues, but the time, yes,
No,
I hope
okay.
you can hear me. Sorry about the internet issue,
yes,
but the timing was perfect because I was just I was just about to close my speech. So thank you all who took part in this project.
Okay, thank you, Mariana.
But Mariana, you wanted to say something about the implementation of the non-violence in our personal and public life. So we missed that point. Would you like to
No, I just said that we need to acknowledge the importance of this day, the Non-Violence Day, Gandhi's birthday, because it seems to me that now more than ever, we need to find ways on a daily basis how to implement this concept, both on private and non-private level.
Okay, thank you, Mariana.
And we need to find it, each one of us, in its own way, in his or her own way, to implement non-violence. If I'm corrected, if I've understood Mariana correctly. Okay, thank you, Mariana. Thank you. I think we are all here exactly because of the acknowledgement of this day and acknowledgement of non-violence in our private and public lives. Okay, now I think we have Professor Biljana Bujinovic with us. I'm not sure. I think I saw her name appearing on the screen. So maybe we can hear something from her because she wrote an introduction forward to this collection of essays, Ahimsa, Gandhi, Tagore and Gandhi.
Yes.
Okay, so Professor Bujinovic, please join us.
Most welcome, Professor.
Hello. Thank you.
Hello. Yes, I
thank you.
Actually mentioned your name while I was introducing the event. Yes, thank you very much for sending us the preface, and it's wonderfully written. So over to you, please. Yes. We'll talk
Thank
later.
you very much for the invitation to write the preface and for the invitation to be with you today. And I apologize for being a little late, but it's all this violent traffic and everything around us that really deserves our thinking about the concept of making a distance with all these things that are just bombing us around. aside from all the big issues. I would like to share with you news. This book has just got out of the print. This is Yelena Dimitrijevich's travelogue, second part of her travelogue, which is mostly devoted to India. And working on this book and working on this text also gave me a great impetus to write that preface. As you know, a large part of it consists of Yelena Dimitrijevich's description of her visit to India and her own encounter with people who were talking about both Gandhi's and Tagore's opinion on the problems that India faced at that time, exactly 100 years ago. Unfortunately, some of these problems have changed their faces, but remain not only for India, but for the whole world. And I think this is still a very actual, a very contemporary text for all of us. And I think that today, and with the whole book that you are about to publish, you are doing a great thing for not only for the local communities, but for the whole world. We have to think about what surrounds us and how to cope with this in a manner which is different and which helps us remain human beings. So thank you very much for both invitations, and I enjoy being in your company. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
So
Professor Dojinovic. Yes.
Welcome.
Okay, and we're moving on to Sandra Josipovic. Sandra, are you with us? You were present, I know. I saw you. Yes. Okay. Okay. So please, Sandra, join to this in this conversation or with your contribution, please.
Thank you. I want to say hello to everyone who joined us now, and I want to express my appreciation to both Dipanita and Alexandra for organizing this event and for compiling this volume, which is going to come out soon. I'm going to talk briefly about my paper. It is of course about non-violence and non-violent resistance, but on a specific example of one life, the life of Tara Bhattacharjee or Tara Gandhi. She is Gandhi's granddaughter, and how these principles actually reflected her life and influenced her life. And my paper focuses on that. And also, I analyze those examples from her life from the perspective of the philosophies of Levinas and Gandhi, because there are some parallelism between these two philosophies. And I'm just going to say that one of parallels between Gandhi and Levinas is the fact that they both emphasize the responsibility for the suffering of the other. Or Levinas, for example, said that the other must hold me hostage in order to deliver me. So basically, that in this day and age, we should all be more responsible and more considerate to everyone around us, starting from our immediate family to everyone else. And they also both emphasized the concept of proximity and repeated in our neighbor, both Levinas and Gandhi. And that's what I said, that we should always bear in mind how the other feels and what the other does, those who surround us and the other people too. My paper also gives a brief overview of the development of diplomatic relations between India and Serbia, because this book that Tara wrote and that I analyze in the paper, the Reflections of the Bygone Era, was translated and published in 2018. It was translated into Serbian and published then to mark the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Serbia and India. I think most of you know that in old Yugoslavia, guests from India were very frequent. Nehru visited several times India, Indira Gandhi, Vijaya Nehru, and other guest scientists, artists were very frequently guests of old Yugoslavia, let's say. So that's all for me for now. Yeah.
Yes, as being the leaders and the co-founders of non-alignment movement with,
right.
with President Nehru and President Mubarak, I think, from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And no, sorry, Nasser, President Nasser, Tito Nasser and Nehru.
Yes.
So that was the three people who basically founded the non-alignment movement.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I think this was really enjoyable. And
Alexandra, I would like to add before Vladimir goes on. You spoke about Levinas. I have written one book about him, and the name of the book is Responsibility for the Other and the Philosophy of Communication. So I'm very glad that you are making, and I was so thrilled to read your paper. And thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Yes, and I'm sure we will have many chances to speak further about it.
Yes.
And also, Professor Biljana Dujinovic, thank you so much for the preface. I'm looking forward to read it. I still didn't get a copy, but I'm already very excited.
Fred and Mariana has sent it a while ago. I will share it that way.
Yeah, okay, do that. And Mirjana Danicic, thank you so much for your kind words and for your introduction. And it feels very important for us to know how Gandhi went much further than other ascetic who act only for themselves. For he acts for the world. He doesn't remain confined in only his individual meditation, but that world is India. And perhaps this is the key to distinguishing between Tagore and Gandhi's mission. And Tagore's world is the whole universe, the space of the entire human race, and not just the Indian. And also, Professor Miloš Đurić, you will have the chance to speak to His Excellency. It will be inserted in our whole event will be put together, and you will all get the recordings of it. It will be on the site of City Library Žarko Zrenjanin. And now I would like you to continue, Vladimir, with our guests. And yes.
Okay, thank you, Alexandra. Thank you for this. And now I would ask Viktor Lazic to join us. I think I saw his name on the screen. I'm really sorry that I keep repeating this, but I cannot see all of you because I'm working on my telephone. So I think I saw Viktor Lazic present.
Yes,
I'm here.
Yes, okay. So Viktor, please join us and share with us your thoughts on Ahimsa, on Gandhi and Tagore, and on this occasion, and maybe Tagore Serbia Center, and so on. Please.
The focus of my paper was the visit of Tagore to Novi Sad, because there is a possibility that when he actually came to Serbia, that he also visited Novi Sad. And I have been a friend with Miss Ilana Čura, a famous professor from the university, who claimed that her aunt, Ljubica Sazanic, well, we know that her aunt met Tagore in Vienna, but Miss Ilana also claimed that Tagore visited on the invitation of her aunt Novi Sad and her home. And then I investigated a little bit of the resources about this this possibility. Of course, we cannot know for sure. It would require much longer and deeper research. The possibility is there, but this is one part of my paper. The other part of my paper is about presence of Tagore in Serbian media, because it is it can be noticed very easily that after the visit of Tagore, there was a huge surge of texts about Tagore in Serbian media, and it was very interesting to see how he was portrayed and what was the influence of his work in Serbia, especially after his visit. And you can clearly see that before he visited Serbia, the texts in Serbian newspapers are very sporadic. They're almost non-existent, maybe just one per year or even less. And it's usually very small text. But after his visits, Serbian media are following every single event in his life. Of course, not really every single event, but a lot of events. Like even Serbian media will celebrate his birthday. They will report about his travels, about his new works, and so on. So the presence of Tagore, both physical and spiritual, through his visit and through his works, have become the grounding basis for bonding of Serbian and Indian peoples and cultures. Of course, the connection with Gandhi we also have through Milorad Rajčević, probably the only Serb and the writer, a travel writer, who met them personally both and wrote about them both. Other than that, I would like to mention that I'm the president of Adliga Society, and Miss Ilana Čura gave us her legacy. And in her legacy, there is also a table and the chairs and other things from the apartment where if Tagore visited Novi Sad, then he stayed in that place, or either stayed or had a literary evening in that place with that particular furniture in that place. I would like to be short. I think that's enough for now.
Thank you, Victor. I think it's very important to check this historical possibility of Tagore visiting Novi Sad, and it is in the vicinity of Zrenjanin where we are going to publish this book, Ahimsa. So maybe we will actually do. Maybe we can collaborate on presenting the book in Novi Sad when it goes out in due time. So thank you, thanks a lot, and we are going to now to.
So Ibers, sorry for that. Yeah. So you can reveal the basic ideas of your paper.
Okay. So what I was trying to do in that paper is basically I interpreted Ahimsa to be something similar to universal love. And I was trying to find the normative justification for certain ethical assertions on the basis of a Kantian constructivist account. That was what I was trying to do. And I say certain because not all of them have to have this kind of justification, but I was trying to show that certain ones have. How is this related to Gandhi? As I said, I interpreted Ahimsa to mean something like universal love. And what I'm trying to show is that because each and every single person values himself, they also have to value everyone, every, as it turns out, perceptive being, too, and that must be an absolute value, the same absolute value with which they value themselves. That was the fundamental thing that I was trying to do in my paper. How I did that was basically I started off where Kant left the matter. So I considered two objections to the particular argument that Kant advances, which was it can't be all of us. It has to be a certain part in us, because then there's the Satan objection. Does Satan also have to value himself absolutely, or do we have to value a Satan-like being absolutely, the same way that we value ourselves? And secondly, how can we generalize our valuation of ourselves to the entirety of humanity? I think I overcame the first challenge because I identified the part that we have to value as our perceptive self, on the base. I mean, the fundamental attempt there was to show that everyone has to value themselves because of the structure of human volition, and then to proceed from that everyone has to value every other perceptive being. Yeah, that was the fundamental argument. I don't think I was able to answer the second objection because no matter how hard I try, I think we always bump into Hume's fact-value gap, and I don't know how that might be bridged. So that question was left open. And then in the remainder of the paper, I just discussed if we can find an a posteriori justification for moral propositions, which I didn't think was reasonable because of Kant and Hume's objections. And on top of that, I developed another objection of my own. And I thought that it cannot be analytic a priori either because of George E. Moore's objection. I mean, I didn't refer to that, but at least there's that objection. And aside from that, it seems to me that when it's analytic a priori, the force of the moral command is still not there. I mean, it's like the deduction is okay. I mean, and you might analyze the concept of morality, but it is still, when you do it that way, there still is no force to the principle that you derive analytically, which is a kind of ambiguous statement, but still. And so I tried to find a rational justification for universal love. And in the end, I kind of overcame some obstacles, but not all of them. That was what I did in the paper, a short summary.
Okay. Thank you, Ibers.
Thank you. Yes, I have been teaching over here for the last 23 years. So Shantiniketan is my home, and Tagore's nature, Tagore's work, all this period. And I call my paper Towards Nonviolence because I believe that in the case of both Tagore and Gandhi, it is a path. It is not just about a destination. Nonviolence is not just a destination. It is a path. It is an ongoing process. And in their own lives, they have tried to show how there is this germination, process of evolution, process of facing the hurdles that there are, the obstacles that one must confront in order to move on. And these things are a part of the life, each individual life in their case. At the same time, the wonderful ways in which they negotiated with these obstacles is something that is a summary lesson for all of us. Living in the middle of violence in our world. In the 20th century, we have seen what has happened in the 21st century as well. There are so many manifestations of violence that we face all the time. And in the middle of that, there is this one strain. It's like a musical strain that we remember from Tagore. There's this strain of calm, strain of serenity, strain of peace that comes from this concept of ahimsa, non-violence, the path that we can all adopt, the path that they both had adopted in terms of their learnings from Vedic, Upanishadic, and Jain, Buddhist, Vaishnava traditions prevalent in India for a few thousand years. So I have tried to talk about their life's journey in terms of movement towards search for nonviolence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Vladimir, you can continue.
Thank you very much. It was very precise and within the time limit and very wonderfully said. And we need to learn from you. Of course, yes. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Yes, we're here to learn from each other, and really thank you, Dibarati. I'm really sorry because it was basically my mistake that I jumped over you in the order. I'm really sorry again because I haven't seen your name on my screen, and I thought that you're not with us, you're not joining us. So I'm really sorry you're waiting, but I think you heard a lot nice words and nice things said about Gandhi and Tagore and Ahimsa, and I think we really had a great chance to meet you and to hear you. Okay, now we have three very young participants here, Teodora, Helena, and Dušica. And I will ask Alexandra to introduce them because they are all her students and students of Zrain gymnasium. And so we can hear. And I really want to add something about Ibar's words and also about these three young girls. I think that it is very important to see that Ahimsa and Tagore and Gandhi's ideas are moving on from one generation to the other, and so I think it's their words should be last because they are going to stay a lot longer here than us. So. Okay, thank you, Ibar, again. Ibar, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, but I can pronounce Theodora, Helena, and Dušica much better than our colleagues from India and States. So, okay, Alexandra, please introduce young
So
ladies.
I would like
Thank
to
you.
add that my students have this strong belief that we can change the world and we can do that with small steps. One of them was maybe writing the essay. And of course, as Deborah Nati said, we live in the world of violence and we are witnessing the incredible relevance of this type of truth without fear. And we are confronting the situation when the struggle that leads us all around the United States, Serbia, and Belarus. And of course, regardless of political differences, what is in common with this wish to change the world and with this facing of the world we live in today is that we all try to oppose violence with non-violence, and that universal and deepest thing that connects us is precisely in the idea of Ahimsa, which Gandhi made visible and Tagore poetized. And I am giving you Teodora Siklušić. I hope you will enjoy as much as I do. Teodora?
Well, hello, everyone. First, I would like to give my thanks to you, Professor Alexandra, and to Dipanita Datta for giving us this opportunity to write our papers and to publishers for publishing this book. I just want to contribute to this day for some of my words from the essay. So basically, I was talking about the importance of nonviolence and between the relationship between Kant's philosophy and Gandhi's movement. So what would I like to say is that nonviolence is the force that makes us do wonders. And in my opinion, the context of this was that nonviolence is actually our own oppression against violence. We in ourselves provoke the strength of mind and soul when we decide that we will not act upon violence. Then we become mentally and spiritually stronger. The same effect we get while doing a good deed or forgive someone, and then we become able to do things that we never think we were capable be of. The sole example is Gandhi's movement, which he started alone and end up with so many followers. And about the relationship between Kant's philosophy and Gandhi's movement, they're connected in the way of realizing the importance of morale and behaving towards the whole humanity. Furthermore, if we adopt Kant's philosophy that by observing the world through an universal law and acting in the way that is justful for everyone, every single person we see, that nonviolence is the core of that philosophy. So yeah, by doing nonviolence or not do harm to everybody, we act in such a way that benefits everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Theodora. And the last speaker for today is the youngest one. She is still a high school student. Theodora is a student at the Faculty of Philology in Novi Sad. And Helena, you can tell us just shortly what is your paper about, and then
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very glad
I was present here today to hear your wonderful words. Okay, I will be very short since our time is limited. My essay was on Gandhi's. Bless you. My essay was on Gandhi's quote about nonviolence being the quality of the heart. I wrote this essay a while ago, like not that long ago, but maybe I don't agree with some points I made in it still. With some I do. I don't know, I touched on the perception, the world's perception on violence and each individual's perception on violence and morality of people, and just, I don't know, if you would like to see it, you can read my essay or yeah.
We will for sure. Thank you so much. And
you.
thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure to have you here. And especially, thank you, Dipanita, for being here with me since 2011, when we met in Bangladesh, Dhaka, at the conference when we celebrated anniversary of Rabindranath Tagore 150 years. And so far, we had this friendship that resulted with what we have today. And I'm looking forward to see you in the future in our next actions and books. Thank you guys for being here with us, and all the best to you. Happy Non-Violence Day and enjoy.
যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি কেউ কথা না কয় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা, কেউ কথা না কয়, যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায় সবাই করে ভয়, যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায় সবাই করে ভয়, তবে পরাণ খুলে ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে। যদি সবাই ফিরে যায় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা, সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাবার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাবার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাঁটা, তবে পথের কাঁটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি আলো না ধরে ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে তবে বজ্রা নলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে